Well, hello YouTube, it's me, Fortmaster, and welcome back to another, Up Is Not Jump reaction. And I believe this is I don't know what you call a sequel or continuation of the last one he did, where he was just talking about Fallout New Vegas, and this is Fallout New Vegas's DLC is an absolute nightmare, and this is why. Oh god, I will never get tired of his videos. They're just so everywhere. Like, how would I rate them? Cause I mean, I'd have to say just because of the characters you can see in it, I think my absolute favorite is like Old World Blues, and again, a lot of that's because you can have an argument with your own brain, then you can potentially lose.
Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote, as if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I enjoyed that little moment?
Which, I mean, is just awesome. Other than that, I know that, I've been seeing a lot of people doing, various Fallout playthroughs recently, most likely because of, the Fallout TV show. And again, it's been seeing a lot of fun, either seeing people, rediscover the game or discovering it for the first time. It's been so fun. But yeah, might as well get down to this then. So of course, as always, original video is linked in the description if you haven't seen it yet for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day, and with all that out of the way, let's get this thing started then, shall we?
In October 2010, Bethesda announced that very soon extra content would be released for Fallout New Vegas. 4 major story add-ons came out over the following months, namely Dead Money, Honest Hearts, Old World Blues, and Lonesome Road. It has been so long since these add-ons were released. Up Is Not Jump, a video game reviewer, has died, but has remained stay active today critiquing games and just generally being an asshole.
There's the brain, of course.
This game is terrible.
You know what? Oh, please tell me he's going to do the entire review as just a brain in a jar. That would be absolutely wonderful.
You know what would be more fun? The Fallout New Vegas DLC. I'll just use my psionic powers to insert the disc. Is it on yet? I don't have eyes.
Oh my god, I still remember, I hate Dead Money.
Pip-Boy to find a radio channel broadcasting details about the Sierra Madre. From this you learn it contains an amazing casino and resort where you can visit and let go of all your problems. The broadcast leads you to a bunker that contains a radio, and if you walk towards it, you'll get knocked out by gas, which by the way is very intense. I don't like this. You black out and
oh god, he is going to do the entire review as just a brain, isn't he? Oh, this is going to be beautiful.
In the courtyard of the Sierra Madre Resort, which is overlooked by the casino. Father Elijah, the man who kidnapped you, appears via a hologram and explains that he brought you here to break into the vault of the Sierra Madre Casino, as it holds something of great importance.
Oh god, the out of bounds.
And for me, this was a pretty good start to the DLC. See, earlier in the game, you can meet Veronica here, who can join you as a follower, and she is probably the best companion in the whole game, which is a big achievement given one is a robot dog and the other is Danny Trejo.
I can throw the gun at him if you want, boss.
Veronica tells loads of jokes.
Wait, was he actually voiced by Danny Trejo? What?
I'm an open book, boss. Granted, the book's in Spanish and some of the pages have fallen out, but I'm an open book.
How did I never realize that before? Oh my god, that is absolutely nuts. I never knew that.
All round just generally great. But you also get the sense there's a lot more going on under the surface that she's using humor to cover up. After Veronica hangs out with you for a while though, she'll eventually open up about her old mentor, Father Elijah. And from her we learn all about him. He's a technological genius and a past leader of the Brotherhood of Steel. Most notably we learn that he suffered a huge defeat trying to defend a power station called Helios 1 from the NCR.
Damn you, Helios!
Now we know from visiting this station early on in the game that Helios 1 is actually powering a giant unstoppable sky laser.
Damn you, Helios!
And from all this we get a foreboding sense that when Father Elijah lost such a powerful weapon, something inside him snapped.
Said he'd return with one of the greatest treasures of the old world. Make the Mojave like it was meant to be. wipe the slate clean.
It's not often that Veronica is so serious, and now here
serious
I am
eyes.
This person she seems to be genuinely scared of. It very quickly adds a lot of tension to this setup. Anyway, beyond all this good stuff, this specific DLC, Dead Money, it's just way too confusing.
Look,
oh
I'm
God,
not the
yeah.
brightest guy. Hilarious.
But Elijah starts explaining why we're here all in one go, and it is far too much for me to follow. He says I'm wearing a bomb collar that will explode if I try to leave. We are going to heist our way into the casino building here with a team of 3 extra people I need to gather. I should craft the toxins I find around the villa into substances to help me. My only weapon is a hollow rifle that he's made. People in strange suits live here, but they're immortal for some reason, so to kill them, they need to be blown up. There's a red cloud here made of...
That and also eaten. Because unless you dismember them, the ghost people do come back to life, which, oh God, that was so annoying. Oh.
Copper and sulfur.
Elijah's voiceover is great, by the way. The clouds
No, yeah, that
burn
is
everything they
very
touch
good,
to avoid
yes.
concentrated parts of them. There are dangerous holograms that can be destroyed if you shoot their emitters. The villa is full of radios and speakers that will set off my bomb collar if I get near them for too long. There are assembly vending machines powered by chips I can find around the villa, and my Pip-Boy can track the collars of the others I need for the heist, and off you go.
It's all too much!
Oh no!
Obsidian has come up with so many great ideas for the Sierra Madre, but introducing them all at once like this is just too stressful and overwhelming.
I believe the clinical term for this is lore dump. Though, I mean, that being said, I mean, it was the first DLC for the game. And myself not being the most familiar with their past works besides, you know, the first couple of Fallouts. Did they make any DLCs before then? So it might have literally just been teething trouble.
And I'm not the only one who thinks so. I'd rather chug embalming fluid and set myself on fire than play another second of this godforsaken deal. Also, as I said, the collar you're wearing will go off if your character goes near any radio or speakers. And this is a really simple idea to understand. But the first example of it we find in the game is so badly designed. See, the first person you are told to go and find is a mutant called Dog. And when you enter the room with him in, your collar starts beeping for the first time. But there are 4 radios hidden in this first room that if you don't destroy within 10 seconds, your head will instantly explode. Why not just have one radio?
Yeah.
It's all just so confusing.
Ugh, even as a dying brain, I hate bad game design.
Whoa, you can't review these DLC like that. Give me a second.
Father Elijah? Wait, what are you doing?
Oh no! What's he doing?
Oh, I'm just activating your Pip-Boy's cellular regeneration unit. This might hurt a bit.
Oh, he's gone.
What? Hey, I've got hands again. And one of those. A foot. So after we deal with...
You know, I was kind of hoping he'd do the entire review as just a brain in a jar. Too much to hope for.
With the radios, we can properly see Dog in his cage. And not to keep complaining, but meeting Dog here may be the most confusing character introduction I have ever seen in anything ever. At first, Dog won't talk to us, so we explore the building and end up going downstairs. When we do, a disembodied voice starts to speak to us and tells us that he's the one who locked Dog in the cage.
Dog. I had to lock him up.
He guides us to a recording on a desk and says that this recording is him and tells us to take this recording and play it to Dog upstairs. So we go back upstairs, play the recording, and then God starts speaking to us. It turns out that Dog and God are the same person with dissociative identity disorder who...
Oh God, yeah. I still am a little confused as to what to do with him at the end, because realistically, I mean they both kind of... Is it best to kind of merge the 2 personalities into something new? I mean, what would happen?
Who are both obsessed with the cage.
Be careful what cage you open.
And while they do mention this cage, they're also referring to the metaphorical part of their mind that they have created to hold whichever one of them isn't in control. But also, the recording of God talking will turn Dog into God, and the recording of Elijah we suddenly have on our Pip-Boy will turn God into Dog.
Oh my God, it's all too much!
Oh God, that's... Again, again, that's another thing. I absolutely love upisnotjump's effects that he does like that. They're just so out there. I love it. But at the same time, again, this just falls back into the whole thing where you're given so much up front that you are lore dumped to the extreme in this DLC.
Don't get me wrong though, Dog and God are great characters. Honestly, all the characters in this DLC are brilliant. It's just that they're all so fucking contrived. Like early on, we meet this lady, Christine, who is also here to help us, and is Veronica's ex-girlfriend for anyone not reading the Wikipedia page. Christine can't talk as she's had her vocal cords cut, so she uses hand gestures to communicate. And while this is a really good idea, the game simply isn't able to produce complex animations, so we just have this. She looks back at you and her hands clench into fists. Her eyes narrow and she takes a step back, studying you. Are you fucking joking? He laughed.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you work with what you got.
Heartily, did a triple somersault in glee, and then burst into tears at the beauty of his own theatrical ability. And this is all she does for like half the DLC. Her text isn't even on screen for more than a few seconds, so I can't read, let alone comprehend what the hell she's trying to say. And honestly, I think even if the animations match the words on screen, it would still make no sense at all. So the object of this DLC is to survive the many dangers of the villa, so that me, Dog, Christine, and Domino, who I haven't mentioned, but he is here, can set off an opening ceremony in the villa that will open the locked casino. From there, we can enter and try and reach the vault under the casino, as it holds a great treasure that Father Elijah wants.
Not a Vault-Tec vault, it's a more traditional style vault.
But the problem is, just doing all this isn't very fun. The hazards of this Sierra Madre that Elijah warns us of are all more frustrating than they are interesting. Your bomb collar keeps going off, the casino security holograms are immortal, and all the deadly gas blocks areas and clouds your vision. What kept me going through all of this, though, was the promise of finding out what could be in the vault that was so important to Elijah. And after much difficulty, you do eventually make it down to this vault on your own. But when you get there, you find there is no dangerous treasure or evil weapon. Father Elijah contacts you and explains that the computers in the casino vault can give full control of the Sierra Madre Resort and its casino. With its security systems, invulnerable holograms, toxic gas clouds, reanimated dead turrets. With all this, he will be able to return to the Mojave and get his revenge. And you know what? Getting through all of that to find out we've actually spent the entire DLC trying to survive the very thing Elijah wants.
It was a great reveal. I really liked it.
There are actually a load of gold bars in the casino vault which we can take as our reward, but honestly, I just assumed they'd be worthless.
There's nothing here but worthless gold. I think I'm dying.
Seriously, who in the wasteland is going to buy gold bars off me? They don't want gold, they need water. What?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, what the gold bars, you know, do actually have value. I mean, until the the Brotherhood of Steel raided, was it like one of the banks or the mint of the NCR, they were on the gold standard. It's not until after the gold was stolen they had to fall back onto like the water merchants for like caps and stuff like that, and that's when like inflation started happening in the NCR. So, I mean, that much gold sell to the NCR. I mean, they're going to pay a pretty penny for all that.
Water. But on closer inspection, each bar is actually valued at 10,539 caps. Good grief, my own spine that I'm carrying isn't even worth one cap. And there's 37 bars here. Now, these bars are so heavy that if you hold even two, you become so weighed down you can only walk at a snail's pace. But who cares? I'll snap my tendons walking back to the Mojave. You don't need functioning ankles when you've got caps, son. Before I can leave the vault, though, Elijah comes down to finish me off, but not likely. But when you kill him, it starts the timer on your bomb collar, and you have around a minute to quickly escape the vault before the collar goes off. Okay, let's do this. Yeah, this isn't gonna work. Eventually you'll realize that no matter what you do, there is no way you can make it to the exit in time unless you run. And that's the point. The message of this DLC from the start was always letting go. And at one point or another, every character says it.
I mean, at the same time, you can get out without the bomb collars going off if you let Elijah live, like trick him into getting locked inside the vault.
It's letting go. It's letting go.
It's letting go.
It's letting go.
Drop me and I'll sue you, human.
Let go of your troubles and come to the great Sierra Madre. Let go of your mind. Let go of your failures. Let go of your greed. So you of course have to drop almost all of the bars so that you're light enough to run to sweet freedom. I've changed my mind. I want to die rich. When we make it back to the Mojave, though, it isn't all over. Fortunately, we receive one last message from the Sierra Madre Resort.
Wait a moment. Before you go, farewells can be a time of sadness. Letting go, difficult. As a guest of the Sierra...
Oh, fuck off!
Again, you're not going to talk about the ending where you can trick him into being... Okay, never mind. I guess it is the stealth option, so who knows. Yeah, honest hearts. again, not the best of the DLCs. Though this one, I don't like this one as much. Also, just because it feels so empty, and the terrain is just, it's everywhere. Like so many cliffs and stuff like that. It gets tiring.
Oh, before we go on, I think I'm a bit low on health. What? Why is there an eye in here? Oh, excuse me. Hello, stranger. I'm the burn. Doesn't matter. Have you got any caps? I need some food from that stall. Well, actually, I have this weathered cap stash containing 10 caps, all themed around upisnotjump. Who's upisnotjump? Never mind, that'll get me an iguana on a stick. Wait, I have a whole box of over a dozen valuables in this absolute nightmare box set, and they're shipping now. Sorry, this happens to me quite a lot. It also includes this working 64GB pen drive featuring nearly 4 hours of completely unseen upisnotjump videos. What's a pen drive? My Pip-Boy plays holotapes. Who am I looking at? I also wrote this 40-page glow-in-the-dark booklet that's in the style of an old video games manual. Wait, you wrote this whole thing? Who are you? There's also a poster, 3 enamel pins, a sticker sheet with 7 stickers, 3 recipe cards with recipes from the channel, and more. You could even win a piece of my vibe. That's it, I'm taking the cap. And you get all of that for $100, and it ships from the US, but it's shipping now, so get yours today.
So if you're interested, go to pixelempire.com/.
I wish I had the money.
Okay, you can go now.
One of my favorite details in all of Fallout New Vegas is that Caesar, the leader of the murderous Caesar's Legion, was once a member of the Followers of the Apocalypse, who are a kind faction of total pacifists. I love this idea because although it's only mentioned in passing initially, it's a great example of the game's main theme, which is that every faction in the Mojave, no matter who they are flawed. The Followers of the Apocalypse, without a doubt, come across as the good guys. They live in peace above all else and provide medicine and education to anyone who will take it. But they ignore the fact that in the wrong hands, the knowledge they share can be dangerous. Without any hesitation, they taught Caesar himself everything he needed to conquer and absorb basically all of the tribes east of the Mojave. In all of this, it seems Caesar's character is analogous to Kurt's from Apocalypse Now. And look, they're both bald! To cut a long story short, before the events of this game,
course.
the Followers of
When you're bald, you're evil. We all know that.
Introduced Caesar, known as Edward Sallow at the time, to a man named Joshua Graham. After some time and a series of small mistakes, they had formed Caesar's Legion, and Joshua Graham became Caesar's legate. Very shortly before the events of the game, Graham led the Battle of Hoover Dam against the Legion's main enemy, the NCR. The Legion lost this battle, and to set an example, Caesar covered Graham in black pitch, set him on fire, and threw him into the Grand Canyon. But Graham didn't die.
I could survive that. Let me show you. Okay.
Oh God, please don't.
I'm fine. See, I told you I'd be fine.
Caesar, who knew Graham had survived, banned his name from ever being spoken. But this only led to the legend of the Burning Man. This DLC's main draw is that you finally get to meet the Burned Man. And does all this build-up pay off? Well, let's ask him. How did you survive?
I survived because the fire inside burned brighter than the fire around me. The fire inside burned brighter than the fire around me.
Obsidian, you son of a bitch.
I mean, I will have, again, it may not be one of my favorite DLCs, but Joshua is written so well. His dialogue is perfect.
I'm in. You know, I never played these DLC when they came out originally, and so I've spent the last 10 years wondering what the Burned Man would be like, and meeting him to find out his voice actor is the same person that voices Arvel the Swift from Skyrim.
Now cut me down before anything else shows up. We should have given you a better welcome on your first visit to Zion.
Really almost ruined it for me. This DLC is about helping the Burned Man.
Bethesda reusing voice actors so much.
Daniel and a tribe they're protecting called the Sorrows escape from or destroy another tribe that's trying to kill them called the Whitelegs. And this part of the DLC I'd describe as not great. See, the Whitelegs, as Daniel here will tell you,
they killed without regard to age or infirmity. They beat children to...
Yeah, I'm sorry. Who wrote this dialogue? Bethesda?
Went into a settlement a year or two ago and killed
Oh wait, no, this was Obsidian.
Children. As you probably noticed when I talked about the Followers of the Apocalypse, New Vegas is interesting because most of the main major factions in this game have a well fleshed out backstory that you can learn about by talking with specific members of that faction. In this DLC though, the Whitelegs are just a distant enemy described as nothing other than pure evil. They're no different to the Raiders in Fallout 3, except they have white legs. And don't get me started on what a hot mess this DLC becomes when you think about the way Native American culture is represented. I like how if you help the Birdman use his skills to kill all of the Whitelegs tribe, you are helping him do exactly what he and his now nemesis Caesar used to do together, but otherwise this story is pretty standard stuff. What makes this DLC overall very memorable for me though is it probably has the best written side story in the entire Fallout universe,
God, yes,
which comes
this
in the form
one!
of computer terminals
I
hidden in
forgot,
several caves,
yeah!
all left by one man named Randall Clark. You learn from these logs that Clark survived the nuclear bombs dropping 200 years ago by hiding in a cave, and his logs give us a first-hand account of what the world was like just after the bombs dropped. He talks about how his wife and son were killed when the bombs fell, but also that while surviving out here, he eventually comes across the people who used to live in Vault 22. See, we actually find Vault 22 back in the base game, and learn it was abandoned after the dwellers in it became infected with a deadly fungus that would kill, then later reanimate the people it infected.
Again, I didn't like this section, not because it was bad, because but because when I was little, it absolutely terrified me.
Almost all of the vaults we find in Fallout 3 and New Vegas have no living vault dwellers in them, but that really is part of the magic. We're only left with our imagination to assume what awful things happen to them, and nothing can beat the human imagination. Nah, fuck that. These final logs give us an incredibly satisfying, complete story for the dwellers of Vault 22 that doesn't destroy any of the mystery Obsidian created for them originally. It's sort of like the total opposite of the film Prometheus. Clark learns that the dwellers of Vault 22 ultimately became cannibals, and over the course of several months he hunts and kills almost all of them. You can even find some of the traps he used. His final log we find was written by him as he sits under the stars, ready to die. Here is where he realizes what kept him going all of these years. It wasn't just his will to survive. He kept fighting so he could keep the memory of his family alive just that bit longer. It is what he owed them. And he writes,
I never forgot your face. They used to say that happened after a while, but never did for me. Maybe the only point of all this living was to keep those pictures in my head going for as long as I could. It was the only life I could give you. Not a day went by without.
Yeah. I mean, again, you got when this game, well, this series, it has its moments of absolutely masterful writing. It's pieces like that you gotta absolutely love, and like how he became like the, oh god, what's it called? I'm forgetting the name of it, but like he became the god for the sorrows. Essentially, because he helped out like the first generation when they were kids, because they were a bunch of kids who had gotten stranded from like a school field trip when the bombs dropped. Oh, I loved it. Here we go, Old World Blues.
Is dope. I'm a serious game reviewer. This DLC takes place inside the Big Empty, a scientific complex that primarily developed technology to help America win their war against the Chinese. But we all saw how that went. The DLC begins with us being captured and experimented on by a group called the Think Tank, who actually won PR Agency of the Year 2020. No, we are captured by the Think Tank, a group of scientists that ran the facility hundreds of years ago, but now they're just brains in jars, kept alive by this ungodly merging of flesh and metal. We learned that these brains.
Oh, come on! You're not gonna play the audio of the newly formed RoboBrain discovering itself and then immediately dying a painful death. Come on!
My brain turning me into a lobotomite, and now I have no choice but to help them take on their nemesis, Dr. Mobius, who is sending wave after wave of giant robo-scorpions with intelligent sapping beams that will render the think tank into simpletons. I told you this DLC was dope. On top of this creative setting, what makes Old World Blues so good is it is, simply put, insanely well written.
If I were not as intelligent as I am, impossible.
See, the tone of this DLC is pretty much all comedy, and making a video game that is non-stop jokes that is actually funny is not an easy task. There's a reason why Undertale, Portal, and The Secret of Monkey Island hold such legendary status. We start, as I said, by talking with the 5 brains in the think tank, and the dialogue here is all gold.
In all probable likelihoods, yes. Possibly.
The brains eventually send me out into the big empty to uncover all of the advanced technology that was created here, which I can then use to break into the Forbidden Zone, where Dr. Mobius is hiding.
The Forbidden Zone! A zone that is, yes, forbidden to you!
And all this tech is great because it gives you new upgrades and abilities, but I think the best thing you can find here is the K9000 Cyberdog gun. This is basically just a Cyberdog that's been turned into a gun, but what sells it are all of its quirks. It barks when you equip it, cries when you unequip it, growls when there are enemies nearby, and it has two little ears that wiggle and a sensor that moves around like a sniffing nose, and oh, I love it so much! You can also upgrade the dog brain to make it more aggressive, which just means the gun does more damage. But the brain jar also turns red and an angry dog sticker appears on the front of it. Marry me, old world blues. It's all these small yet quality additions that make this DLC so special.
Oh god, that little death claw. I have so many, I have so many memories of when I first played the DLC and I was stuck trying to kill that thing because I think I was a bit under level. Oh, that was horrible trying to kill that thing. It freaked me out so much. Ah!
Sink, which is filled with objects that will help you collect resources, upgrade your weapons and gear, or just improve your skills and abilities. The light switches, for example, can produce colored light that gives you certain skill bonuses, or the sink here can give you water bottles to heal yourself while you're out and about. However, it's one of the best ideas since Einstein invented water that doesn't get you wet.
Oh, I can't believe it's not wet!
All of these objects have their own personalities
the
that relate
sink
to their
personalities,
function in some way.
Please tell me he's going to talk about. Please tell me he's going to talk about the anti-sedition book shoot or the apocalypse toaster. Oh please, or Muggy. Yes, Muggy.
The sink is a germaphobe, the biological research unit is a pervert, and the book depository hates all books as they help promote independent thought. One of my favorite of these personalities is the toaster, who, because their only function is to power a red-hot heating element, considers itself one of the most dangerous beings in existence.
A toaster is just a death ray with a smaller power supply.
And of course, there's the robot
Muggy.
Oh, please, tell me you brought me some coffee cups.
You know, in my last video I said Mr. House was probably the best character in the whole Fallout series? No, I was wrong. It's Muggy here. Muggy is a Securitron that was designed to clean dishware, but he has been driven completely insane by the fact that no matter what he does, unclean dishes will always exist out in the world. This idea in of itself is of course amazing, but the dialogue and the voice acting are chef's f***ing kiss.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, and the fact that he knows what he was created for and hates every second of it. He hates his life because he knows his only purpose is to clean dishes.
God, give me the coffee cup, please! It's sitting there in your back, taunting me!
Drug addict.
As I said, all these guys can upgrade your gear and weapons, but first you need to activate their abilities by bringing them upgrade modules that you can find hidden around the big empty. And while this is all fine, I found that, like in Dead Money, because I was dropped into this new world so quickly, it all got a little bit confusing. Like, before I'd even met any of these crazy characters in the sink, I found an upgrade module, and here's what the game told me about it. This holotape contains an audio sample of Gabriel's bark. It can be used to modify the sonic emitter's weapon at the sink's jukebox. What the? Whoa. Not to mention, all of these characters are found in a location called the sink, but there's also a sink in the sink that needs sink upgrade modules you find outside the sink, and you bring them to the sink so that you can upgrade the sink.
Show me your secrets.
At times
Don't break it, please.
Confused about this DLC's main story as well. It starts off, for example, with about 20 minutes of non-stop exposition from the main brain, Dr. Klein here. And while it's all brilliantly written and absolutely
again, just absolute lore dump.
By Oppenheimer, which one of you self-professed geniuses has been adjusting my volume knob?
The other 4 brains of the think tank also talk to you during this conversation, and they only talk through Dr. Klein. So
yeah, that's the one thing I found very confusing when I first played this. In fact, I think like the very first time I ever went through the DLC, I didn't talk to any of the other brains because I didn't know I could actually interact with them. I was a stupid child.
We have 5 characters, all of who look exactly the same, all talking through one person, and no matter who is speaking, it says Dr. Klein at the bottom. So although all of these characters have great personalities, I struggled a bit to remember who was who throughout my playthrough.
You know, I seem to be having trouble understanding all of these DLC. I think actually there might be something wrong with me.
Correct, lobotomite.
Oh no, now what?
God.
I've removed your brain, and you'll never find it. Well, actually, it's over there.
What? Oh no. You could have at least left it in the jar.
Overall, though, I loved almost all of this DLC, and what shoots it into stratosphere levels of brilliance for me is how perfectly the Big Empty connects itself into the larger story of New Vegas and the other DLC. For example, in the Big Empty, I found a destroyed research facility called the X-22 Botanical Garden, and in it were the same monsters we saw in the main game in Vault 22, but one of these monsters here is called Patient Zero. From this, we can deduce that the research that took place here must have created the fungus that infected and destroyed most of Vault 22. And so, without a single line of dialogue, Old World Blues has been linked to both the main game and the side story of Randall Clark in the previous DLC, Honest Hearts. Old World Blues, marry me again! The Big Empty may be this wacky location with loads of zany characters, but its impact on the rest of the Fallout universe is so incredibly grim. Also, if you explore Little Yang, you will find a computer terminal that reveals Father Elijah from the first DLC was here too. And from his logs you can find out the Big Empty was where he first heard about the Sierra Madre, first realized that the other character we met, Christine, was following him, and found and tested the technology for the bomb collars he used on us.
Fashion. Turn to the left. Fashion.
At the very beginning of Fallout New Vegas, we can learn that we weren't actually the first choice to be the courier that would deliver the Platinum chip, aka the chip that was stolen from us and got us shot in the head at the start of the game. The delivery was supposed to be made by a different courier, but he saw our name next on the delivery list for the chip and insisted that we take it instead.
Hope a storm from the Divide skins him alive.
In Lonesome Road, that courier, named Ulysses, contacts us and tells us to come find him at the Divide, which is a barren wasteland made up of mostly a long and destroyed road. He promises that if we do this, he will finally reveal to us why he let us take his package. And don't take that out of context! Now, this has got to be my favorite setup of all the DLCs. Ulysses' decision to give us the Platinum chip at the start of the game sets up the entire plot of Fallout New Vegas, which is, to me at least, the greatest game of all time. On top of this, these DLCs have been continuously ramping up in quality as I've gone through them. So is this the exponential curve, the zenith of all Fallout creation?
No. Steamed hams!
Okay, the gameplay in this DLC is pretty good. See, as we cross the Divide to reach Ulysses, we find loads of new enemies, locations, and weapons, including a laser that can blow up nuclear warheads to clear your path, and a rapid-fire rocket launcher. The new enemies are really difficult to kill too, which is fitting as this is effectively the final quest in all of Fallout New Vegas. The problem comes with this DLC's writing.
See, the first thing that happens is we get a new companion, Edie, and he's here to unlock doors for us as we travel around the map.
Is he's not really new. He's like a duplicate of one we already have. It's weird.
Oh, hey, Edie. Didn't see you there.
Earlier in the main game, we find a similar companion, also called Edie. And while this new Edie is like that old Edie, it isn't quite the same Edie. What do you mean you're not the Edie I know?
And there we go. I'm completely confused again. Why are you so useless, brain? Now where's it gone to? It's okay.
God.
I don't need brain to words.
What's even worse is I think the writing in this DLC might be purposefully convoluted in order to sound more meaningful than it really is. For example, Ulysses contacts us every hour or so to chat, which should be great as we could get loads of interesting dialogue as we travel. But he is absolutely no fun at all. Seriously, ask him any question. Maybe you better tell me who you are.
I'm a courier. Courier 6 was Courier 6. Like you, and not like you. In all the ways that...
Oh, fuck off! For the people at home not paying attention, Ulysses didn't actually say anything there. And he has a full hour and a half of dialogue that is all exactly like this.
God, yeah, Ulysses, he would make an excellent politician, able to speak on for hours without actually saying a thing.
Exactly.
And every time he refers to the NCR, he calls them by a different name. The bear, the two-headed bear, the NCR. You don't sound smart, Ulysses. You're just belaying the point. So as we cross the Divide, Ulysses regularly talks to us through Edie, and it isn't until we're near the end of the road that he reveals how he knows us. And oh boy, does it really boil my potatoes. See, before the events of the game, our character, as a courier, bought a package to the Divide, which at the time was a thriving city. Unknown to our character, this package had a detonator of some kind inside it. And after I left the Divide, it activated and detonated dozens of nuclear bombs that were unknowingly stored below the divide, and everyone here died. So Ulysses brought us here because of something our character apparently did before the game even started, and is putting that blame on us, the player. Jesus, talk about being rigged from the start. Oh, yeah, it's brilliant, beautiful. Well, I've got some bad news for you, Ali. I didn't choose to do that. How am I supposed to feel connected to a plot twist that has absolutely nothing to do with anything I did? And what really gets me is that I have done so much of note since this game started. Why isn't this DLC related to any of that?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, he makes such a big deal out of this, but it's never stated whether us, the courier, knew that was in the package, or if we were like just delivering like a bunch of scraps for somebody and that was just happened to be in there. I mean, like, he could be blaming all of this purely, again, for like pure happenstance. It's like, it's nuts.
I delivered the platinum chip, I killed Elijah, I met the burned man, I outsmarted the think tank, I did not go to the fucking divide with some stupid fucking package and blow it the up. This beef with Ulysses, this setting, this entire story has nothing to do with anything we as the player have seen, done, or even heard of. Our character themselves doesn't even seem to remember it, yet we're having it all imposed on us like it was all our choice. As I said though, this DLC has a lot of great stuff going on outside of its story. It has loads of scripted set pieces, collapsing buildings, nuclear bombs going off. Its release even had to be delayed by a couple of months, and with so much going on, it's not surprising. Playing through it though, I get the sense Obsidian would have wanted even more time, mainly because there are some pretty big bugs here that many other people seem to encounter. The biggest issue I had by far is that Edie here simply didn't work at all. See, at the beginning of the DLC, I free him from this machine, but after that, he just hovers here frozen and doesn't follow me. Now, I'd happily just leave him behind, but unfortunately, I need him to open some locked doors for me. So what do? Well, after a little searching, I learned that I could just manually push Edie to every door he needs to unlock. Select to wait within the game for a few hours, and then he would activate and unlock the door. But getting him working again like this is only temporary. See, this Edie is supposed to follow you around at all times like the other Edie from the main game. But in this DLC, he's just never around. Every time you need him, you have to wait within the game for a few hours, and only then will he suddenly appear. To be honest, pretty much all of the technical problems I had with this DLC seem to relate to Edie.
Why? It's like, you'd think if they just copy and pasted the code for the original Edie to this new one, it would work out fine, but no, it's like completely different.
When you finish the DLC, for example, you get a load of extra slides that explain sort of what happens next in the story. But for me, all of the slides about Edie only played for a few seconds and then cut out. Look, here's an example. What? How was I supposed to read any of that?
Oh, Edie, what are you like? Ow!
Anyway, we eventually make it to Ulysses, and he tells us he's going to destroy the entire Mojave with some extra nuclear bombs that he found here in the Divide. But of course, how does he describe switching on a nuclear bomb?
The Divide giants are awakening.
Yes, man, please throw Ulysses from the dam. Regardless, I say literally one sentence to him, he changes his mind and joins me in the final battle. Why is this? Why is this happening? Honestly, though, throughout this DLC, Ulysses has come across a bit of a raving lunatic, so I think
he definitely is insane.
I then have to tell Edie to hack this terminal to stop the nuclear bombs from launching, but doing so will fry Edie's circuits and kill him. And you know, him doing this to me and then instantly exploding would be sad if I hadn't just spent the last 5 hours pushing him across the entire Divide.
Overall, then, it's just not that great a DLC, right, Edie?
Oh god, he's broke again.
Wait, it was you who took my brain. Yeah, you're right, actually, this does look better than before.
And so it was, upisnotjump finished the Fallout New Vegas DLC. And with guidance from Pip-Boy Father Elijah, he was able to take over the entire world. Edie continued to advise Edie also found him, and I for one welcome our new YouTuber overlord. May his reign be long and
but everything with Edie in the DLC, why is everything broken?
Thank you.
Oh god, absolutely. Again, I love upisnotjump. He's one of those like creators where their jokes are just, how to describe it? They're completely out of left field, but they are perfect in every way when it comes to like whatever he's joking about. And again, thinking about this, like, I don't know if I do a series, like a Fallout New Vegas series on my channel. Maybe a stream? I don't know. That's a question for a future day. But oh god, yeah, I absolutely loved it. That was hilarious. So yeah. So of course, as always, link to the original video in the description if you haven't seen it for some reason. Corner video will lead to my Let's Play of the day. And with all that out of the way, I hope you guys liked. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.